Two guys in a garage, different garages, trying to figure out how to do podcasts better all the time.
All right. It's buffering. Now you're live.
Cool.
Two guys in a garage, different garages.
That's it.
Trying to figure out how to do podcasts better.
That's funny. All right. Well, we're obviously using this as a YouTube live, but we are actually preparing for our podcast. So that's fun. So
you hear the reverb of our own podcast?
I did hear that.
Sorry.
How did you do that?
Well, I had the YouTube audio on as I was still recording ours, so I doubled back on them. But
I'm not sure how my church friends are gonna like this. What's a good T symbol? How about that? Okay, that kind of something like that. All right, so we're talking about collaboration to get stuff done. And we talked a little bit about why, what, and when. So that's kind of what we covered. So we're talking about how. So, oh yeah, this is a typo. So how to start, right? I mean, again, this is an area that I suck at, so I'm working on it. So how to start for me, I mean, I think we did talk a little bit about picking up one project, right? Asking for help.
Well, we talked about it from the framework that the collaboration doesn't have to be this big, massive thing. It can be little. And so collaboration can be sending an email and verifying some information during a call. And that counts, and that we were saying that because of individuals who feel like they have difficulty collaborating.
Right.
If you can start small. So that's really where we came from on that, not necessarily how to start.
Okay. Got it. So I don't think I think the best thing to do is to start with a story. What is an example that you had to collaborate on, and what is an example that I had to collaborate on? Because I don't think I've ever thought before, like, hey, here's your checklist for how to start collaborating.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to have to use a story and figure out what we like and didn't like about that process.
Yeah, we may have to work from the back to the front.
I think so.
So
again, bottom up. We talk about that on this podcast from time to time.
Yeah.
Top down versus bottom up. And this is an example of building content from bottom up, because what could be better than a story?
Yeah.
Or an example, at least,
What story do you want to use? So for me, collaboration always starts with listening. I try to put myself as the listener first. You know how we talked about the collaborator versus the collaboratee?
Yeah.
I'm probably making these words up,
I don't know.
Somebody who's listening on YouTube can let me know if I'm right or wrong on that. But
now that we have a show email.
Yeah. Email me and let me know if I'm a complete moron or if I'm halfway.
Howie and Beastmode at gmail.com.
Yeah, AND in the middle.
$5 for the $5 to the first person Amazon gift card who emails us during the YouTube live.
I'm about to email us real quick.
For you, $5 Amazon gift card to the first person who emails us anything you want, like even hello, to Howie and Beastmode at gmail.com.
Yeah. But I think for me,
remind me in your email that I said that, by the way.
Remind you?
No, I'm telling them, if you're going to take me up on that, remind me I offered $5 because that was totally random.
Yeah, and make sure it's that's Brian Howard.
Remember that Howie's paying for that, not Beast Mode.
Yeah, we get 500 emails.
No, I said the first one.
Yeah. You're going to timestamp it. Yeah.
Gmail does it automatically. All right, so start listening. So I think listening is a really powerful thing, man. It's funny because and some of the guys know that I've been interviewing. It was laid off due to COVID, And so I've been talking today a lot. It's weird that you said listening. I've really emphasized listening in my interviews today, as far as talking to prospective employers about my style and how I think it's important to listen 3 times before you talk 1 time.
Mm,
So I think, yeah,
that's
listening
hard.
it is hard, but I think I love that you brought it up. So listening is good. And from that, listening is going to give them, you know, problems that can be solved.
Yeah. And I guess I'm trying to think of why I do that. And I think the biggest reason I do that is, I guess, partially is to try to remain humble, and that I don't need to just jump in and start, you know, feeling like I'm the collaborator that's pulling everything together. Part of it is if I have an issue, some of it's I want to see if my issue solves your problem. So I'm listening first, you know. Because if it does, then great, then it's an easy thing. But if it's not going to solve your problem, like what I want to collaborate with you with, then maybe I can solve your problem in another way. But I'm still listening, you know.
Mhm.
So
Okay. So
I don't know
whether
if
it's listening, so you could be listening to employees, bosses, other departments,
yeah, perspectives,
customers, prospects. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
all
That's
of it.
great. So a lot of listening, you're gathering that data and you're finding where some problems are or opportunities through this. That's really, really good. And you can collaborate on those. And really, to me, how to start, part of it is it's a choice.
Yeah,
It's just like, listen. And
side, yeah,
I had to make that choice. And by the way, I'm kind of still making it because I work a little quicker and I like to work alone because I'm an introvert. So for me, it's a little bit of a choice. But what's fun about it is I'm noticing that people appreciate being involved. And even if they don't want to actually help, they at least appreciate being asked.
yeah,
Um, so I think this is, you want to make sure you document, prioritize. So you're talking to your employees, you're talking to your boss, you're talking to other departments, and you're talking to customers, you're talking to prospects, and through that you're identifying patterns, right? So it's like, hey, here's an opportunity we could really take advantage of if we did something, or we keep stubbing our toe or whatever, and so here's a problem. And so if we see it, if that happens more than once, we start seeing a pattern, then we could document that and go work on it. And then it's best to, and that's really how I work
yeah.
in my job, you know.
Okay, so once you've made the decision, you've made a choice, I'm gonna collaborate on something, whether it's I'm gonna bring somebody in for something I'm working on, or I'm gonna take what I've got to somebody else. We've decided that we're gonna listen.
Yeah.
After we've listened, now what are we doing?
So I think then you choose, you have to select a an opportunity or problem to collaborate on with the people closest to that. You'll find that product managers, we talked about this last week, but product managers tend to collaborate with customers, and they should.
Yeah,
They're developing products. I mean, customers appreciate the input, and they feel a little special in that process too. And then the product manager gets direct feedback, that is. So I think you select it. I think those are all good things, and then it falls into some of the how, how to collaborate. But I think these are great ways to find opportunities. Whether it's, and you select these issues through revenue impact, um, risk impact, retention impact, which is related to revenue impact, really. But you could call that revenue impact, new business and retention, current customer business, retention impact, cost
Visibility.
impact. Yeah. Yeah. What's the visibility to, so I'm going to call that, how widespread is it? How visible is that? How widespread is that? How, is the problem? So you use those things to figure out where to spend your time.
Yeah.
Which is really good. And I can share a story. Have I ever shared about, in my last company, improving the proof of concept process to evaluate our software? That sounds so technical.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when
Probably
people
when
buy,
when you start telling the actual story, I might remember.
okay, so basically in my last company, my boss, the managing director, that's kind of like a president for the
Yeah.
Americas, he said, I really want you to look at our sales process and find out where things are stalled or where things are slower, where things can be improved. And he said, I think it's our proof of concept process, which in proof of concept just means the process a customer utilizes to check out your software, to try it out,
Okay.
right? So your trial process or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I spent like probably 8 weeks on that. I spent too much time actually on that. But I realized that our sales engineer team, who are the ones who really spend the most time helping our customers demo our software and check it out and try our software, I figured that they really should be involved. If I'm going to improve the process that customers go through to try our software, I better involve the people who are helping them the most, which is the sales
Yeah.
engineering team. So I
Yeah.
worked with that team, and it was such a cool thing because Jack apparently, after the day I got laid off, he asked his boss, Brett, he said, what are we going to do with Brian gone? He just rolled out this new process. What are we going to do? That's such a compliment because Jack doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
But I was so collaborative with that department that they missed it, and they were worried about the success of it without that collaboration. It was one of the neatest experience. I love those guys. And it just shows you that the relationship depth and the quality of innovation that can happen when you work together. So I think I could tell that story.
Yeah. I mean,
Kind of
always
just did,
good.
but so I think, you choose, you listen, you select. I'm probably going to move this over. By the way, is anybody listening to this YouTube live right now?
I don't think so.
Okay. Does YouTube live, does it save it as a thing?
You can choose to save it public,
I
choose to
would.
save it private, or choose to save it unlisted. So
I
that
would
way,
prefer to, just because, and I think we could even do a 15-minute show, just YouTube live during the week sometime, maybe
yeah.
every week, or a Facebook live, by the way, or both. And I think Facebook, we have a more bigger audience, but maybe both. But we could actually do a how's it going this week? A business chat, just like unscripted, like
Yeah.
I don't have time for another thing that is planned, but we could at least experiment with an unscripted, like how's your day going? What are you working on in your nonprofit? What are you working on in your business? What's
Yeah.
pissing you off?
Yeah. 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 So, I mean, you can do those. And basically, if you're watching live, you're going to get it. And then it'll save it. It's going to get saved either way. It's just, is it saved where people are going to be able to view it or not view it?
Yep.
That's
I
really
love
the
it.
option.
I think having more content that is potentially, plus I think you get more credibility with the algorithm the more posts you have. So I think it's a good idea.
Yeah. So I know one of the thoughts that keeps popping back in my mind, and again, I'm not, maybe I should just stop and Google this.
Okay.
Because I keep saying it and I
love it.
I can fact check myself, I guess.
Facts are good.
Well, I keep saying like collaborate or collaborating.
Oh, you're gonna just check out the syntax or the
if
language.
it's an actual word or if it's not, if I'm just
All right.
making stuff up. But
I like it.
but I do think that there's something to that. You know, with cleanup, when we started, and I still do it. I do it all the time, and and maybe that's the reason why it's so heavy on my heart, is that right now cleanup is not in a position. You know, it can be, but it's not. You know, it's not the turkey on Thanksgiving. You know, we're a side dish. And, you know, and so I treat it as a side dish. So how can I support you, but at the same time collaborate? I want to collaborate. I need something from you, and I need you to help me, and I want to help you, but I understand I'm not the turkey or, you know, the ham.
What do you mean by that?
That I'm a side dish at the moment. Cleanup's a
Aside,
side.
you're saying it's a side dish in terms of your earthly priorities.
No, I'm saying that. So for an example, a lot of times we support other nonprofits or other groups that are already in the community. And so we support them by supplying something they don't have. They don't have mobile showers, mobile haircuts, mobile mani-pedis, mobile any of that. They're handing out food, they're handing out clothes, you know, and so you're already doing that and you already have 200 people there. So why do I need to try to gather my own group when I can just come to your group? And I mean, I can supply something that you're missing. I can uplift and support you, but at the same time, I can serve the community. So I'm collaborating because I'm taking, or not taking, but we're sharing population. But at the same time, I don't have to go try to reinvent the wheel. Does that make sense or resonate with you?
So are you saying that you want to be able to systematically leverage existing ministries better?
I guess what I'm saying is that with cleanup specifically and with JL, I position us as a collaboratee. Okay. I am not the bread and butter. I position us that way, you know? So even when, you know, things come along, I position ourselves as we're the support
Which is
for what's
incredible.
going on. Huh?
Which is awesome.
So
far, I don't see a problem because that's good.
No, and so instead of me seeking out and saying, I'm looking for people to host me, host cleanup, provide for me, and I'm the main stage, I'm the main show. I'm saying, be the main show, and then I'm going to come in and I'm going to learn things from you, and I'm going to provide a service for you. And maybe it's, I don't want the headache of having to put on an event, or I don't want the responsibility of having to gather 30 volunteers, you know, but I can position myself to where I can support and I can maximize the collaboration without having to overstretch my capacity. Did any of that resonate, or is it too technical for what I'm saying?
So can I repeat it back to you?
Please do.
Because that'll be a good test. So are you saying that if Arlington Shelter, I'm making something up here. If you're saying that, like, are you saying Arlington Shelter does a Saturday 10 a.m. to noon distribution, and so you want to be a service to them and offer to them this additional capability as part of that existing event?
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. I mean, that's appealing. I mean, why can't you do that?
No, I that's what I'm saying. I prospectively only do that. And so what it does is
then you need less staff, which has been a challenge.
Huh?
And then you need less staff too, which has been a challenge.
Well, I mean, irregardless. And so what it does is it puts me in a position to support Arlington Shelter for the sake of the analogy.
Yeah.
You know, from 10 to noon, And so I'm the collaboratee, they're the collaborator, it's their stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas some people, and I know that I've had the thought, and you know, I've had to take that thought captive. Is no, I want to be there from 3 to 5, and so you got, figure it out. If you want me there, it's from 3 to 5. That positions me as the main dish.
And would you prefer that flexibility to be able to choose more?
No, so I guess it's more along the lines of, if I can, the more places that I feel like I can support and collaborate with, then
Right.
I'm trimming the stuff that I like from each thing that benefits cleanup the most, that supports us the most, grows us the most, and I can choose 20 of them and grow that way, versus saying I'm the what do they call the the main show at like a concert?
I mean, like the headliner or something?
Yeah. I'm not the headliner, so I don't. I, you know what I'm saying? Part of it's humility. And I know that because that's a check. I try to check myself on that. But part of
Mhm.
it is it the efficiency aspect of it. How many places can I support and collaborate with, grabbing what benefits me the most? And again, everything I'm supplying, you don't have.
What is your greatest passion right now? Is it the showers part?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
That's what you saw in your vision, right?
Well, it was mobile services. Showers was one of them. And
Okay.
I think by continuing to ask the question, that's why, again, I say showers, mani-pedis, haircuts,
Yeah.
the clothing, because those are the things that when you ask and you offer, people jump at.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I think
Um,
I think there could, I mean, you could
I
be,
think can I tell you something?
yeah.
Everything that I've ever built has been ugly and hard and has had, people that sometimes oppose it a little bit. And what I found is it's actually completely normal. So these questions right now, if you can understand that embracing the thrashing around is actually okay. Because what I'll do is I'll sit down to do a presentation for XYZ, like Fidelity or something. And I'm like, okay, I kind of know the direction, but there's so many things I could do, or if I'm building this, process, it's overwhelming. And then I run into a problem. I'm like, what do? I don't know how to get around this process. I have this thing right now, and what do I do? And then here's what happens. I figure out what to do, but it requires someone else. So now I got to freaking go ask them if that's okay, and then get time on their calendar and explain to them, and then they have another objection. So now I've got the problem I found. I go to the person who can help me, and they have an objection. So I've got two objections, but then I go figure that out, and I solve their objection, and then I get their support to solve my original problem. I'm making my way down the process flow to make progress in my evolution of my business, or in your case, nonprofit. So I think that what you need to do right now, I'm just making this up, what is, first of all, take a little bit of comfort that the doubt and the unknowing and the thrashing is actually normative, and it's actually healthy. And when you see that, then you can build anything in your life knowing that, okay, there's always going to be a thrashing. It's going to feel almost like the precipice of failure, but it's actually not. That's the iteration and the learning, and part of it's painful, and part of it's doubting, or frustrated with other people. I mean, it's all normal. So I don't have an answer for you overall. I think the vision that I'm starting to capture, and I don't have it all the way, and we don't have enough time, but I feel like this is pretty normal. And I think the more experimentation, here's what I would say: the more experimentation that you do as you build this out, um, the more you'll discover what speaks to you, and also kind of what works.
But don't you feel like you have to decide, I'm going to be the main stage, I'm going to be the main event, or I'm going to
You
be,
can, but there's consequences to every decision. So
Right, but I'm
with
saying when I'm choosing to collaborate, I need to go into each conversation knowing I'm positioning myself in this conversation as the main event, or I'm positioning myself as the opening act, you know, just for an analogy perspective, you know?
so can we break it down into it? And by the way, this is actually not a bad thing for our podcast. This is starting to come back to topic. So I think
Yeah,
we should let this breathe a minute.
yeah,
Um, I think that okay, there's a ministry in
yeah,
Fort Worth that has a big, huge building and a complex that
yeah,
you have partnered with in the past. Occasionally, something's a little bit irritating or whatever, but pretty good partnership.
yes,
Big, tall building. It's where I went with you when you did the showers that one time
yes,
for the homeless. Okay, so I think if if you can write down, if you can have a one-page something or a presentation or whatever, or just a list of notes of what you want that relationship to look like, if you can crystallize that into a clear articulation of what you want, if you want to be the headline, whatever that looks like, I think you got to be able to say what that looks like, and then they can say yes or no, and you can start seeing if you get your message to where it's really really clear, and you run it by your collaboratee, let's call it,
mm,
then they can either tell you yes or no, and then you'll be able to see from the marketplace, uh, and also from a spiritual standpoint too, but you'll be able to see what the market tells you, like, well, we really want to have control. Okay, then you can choose to work with them or not, or just keep the little informal stuff that you do today with them. But yeah, I think boiling this down to a one page set of like goals and then running those goals by people, almost like,
I
I mean,
think,
that's collaboration.
yeah. And I think part of it is just an understanding of who I am. I mean, for everybody listening, I'm understanding who you are.
Yeah,
I mean, again, like my first analogy, I know that I'm not the turkey on Thanksgiving.
yeah.
I mean,
And you don't want to be, right.
yeah, not that I don't want to be, I just know that I'm not, you
Right.
know? And so, I mean, in my analogy would, and so to your analogy, it would be to tell a beautiful feet, hey, you need to open up your facility because I'm coming by. That would be me being the turkey
Right.
and then being the side dish. Whereas I understand they're the turkey, and so then I just support, because again, I benefit, cleanup benefits, they benefit. You know, maximize on all areas, keeps me lean, keeps me efficient. But at the same point, then I mean, I'm able to learn, I'm able to grow, as opposed to being weighted down. Could we main event? I'm sure we could. I just, I mean, I don't know if it's worth that, you know. But I don't know. I know that's, and I looked at that, so I'm totally making up new words. Collaboratee and collaborate.
You are the inventor.
But I'm gonna submit those to Webster shortly
I love
and
it.
get those approved. But
Um, I really want to tell you that this was very helpful. And I know that you might say, well, that felt like thrashing around too, which is so funny that it was helpful. But I never thought before, that having a one pager that clearly paints a vision for what I want would be an important part of collaboration. And I think it would have helped me on my POC process thing that I worked on, because I had this big PowerPoint. It was too long.
yeah,
I should have had a one page briefing, like a paragraph, a title, a paragraph, and 6 bullet points. Have a nice day. Let's pull it up on the screen, or I'm going to come to your office or
yeah,
whatever. We're going to talk about this. Or hey, hey, Beastmode, I'm going to email you this one pager. This is kind of what I'm thinking about. And then can we talk tomorrow?
yeah.
And it's like, let them have a chance to think about it and read it. So I don't know where to add that, but I think
I think it goes after
clarifying
the,
your message is really a big deal there.
well, oh yeah, yeah, no, yeah, yeah.
I don't know where
All
to
of
put
that goes
that.
after as you're selecting an opportunity. you're selecting it with all this in mind.
All right, I'm just going to add it like that, and then let's just, clarifying your message, okay?
Yeah.
Your message, vision, desires, whatever you want to call it.
We need to go ahead.
Yeah, we do have to. Yeah, I don't think we're going to have two done unless we do one after the.
One right back to back.
Okay. Well,
which we could lead right into. Some of these are good collaboration techniques, so maybe that's part of what we've been discussing is the POC, the nonprofit, and clarifying your message may be all part of good collaboration techniques.
Yeah.
And we need to shorten and do 2 like 15-minute podcasts, keep them tighter, 20 minutes or less.
I could probably go to 6:15, but I have to stop at that point.
No, I like this. I like the 6. Let's put a deadline on it.
Okay.
And we'll try to just knock out 2 20s. Cool. I'll get a timer rolling.
All right.
All
right. And you just wave at me or whatever you want to do. I'm going to put this in the deal here in the chat.
Put it in the chat.
Quick. Did anybody ever come on this this YouTube thing?
It's still rolling.
Okay.
I don't think so at the moment. But again, a lot of times you got to share those on social media.
Oh, you do? Okay.
You do.
Cool. All right. I put that in the chat. I'm going to go ahead and unshare my screen.
I already did it for you.
Okay, thanks. So I'm ready to go. Are you recording yet?
Yeah. 3,
okay.
2. All right. Go ahead.
What's going on, Beast Mode?
Hey, Howie. So good to see you, my man.
It is good to be seen. I'm
Where's
loving this approach. Yeah, I need to put the robot back.
Yeah.
I have I'll show everybody what you're talking about. This is my Star Wars robot.
Yes.
It's my it's the greatest birthday present I've ever had, and it actually is electronic. And it's pretty cool. So yeah, actually let me show you really quick. By the way, if you ever want to bring Hunter over to check it out, you're more than welcome to show this to you.
Okay.
Oh, you can't even.
This is great for all the audio listeners.
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay, yeah. All your audio people, you can't see the
no.
fact that my droid's head turns.
Very nice. Lights. Oh, very nice.
Yeah, and it rolls around too.
Oh.
Anyway, pretty fun.
Super
yeah, so you can probably get these on eBay. Oh yeah, that's fine. So we're talking about on this new-ish series. This is part
episode 3.
Episode 3.
Yes, sir.
Collaborating to get stuff done, or whatever the word you want instead of stuff to get done. And we are going to talk today about how to start. And it was fun brainstorming this. By the way, we do a YouTube live on Tuesday evenings, somewhere around, I think usually it'll be around 5:30 Central.
Yeah.
And it's actually show prep.
Yeah.
If you guys want to check that out.
Yeah. So you get kind of the detailed version of what we're going to chat about. So
it's actually kind of fun to see the sausage making. Okay, so how to start is collaboration. So what's interesting, we talked to you about in episode 1 of the series about collaboration to get stuff done. The fact that Beast Mode and I kind of suck at this. I mean, I don't want to really add too many words to him, but I sucked at this. And so I've been intentional about working together with people more instead of building everything myself, which is a little quicker is why I did it. And it's also because people let you down and they don't follow up very well. And so I just learned over time to not work with other people, but I'm unlearning that now. So yeah, it's fun to wrap with you, man, on I think a pretty important topic.
Yeah, it's definitely important. I know we all have room to grow, and we all have different perspectives. I mean, if you were listening live on YouTube, I know that I'm sure I came across pretty adamant and demonstrative when I'm talking about some things that we're going to talk about here later on today's show. But we got perspectives, and there's always so many areas in which, again, just sitting here round tabling these things, collaboration. And so There's, if you listened last week, we talked about when to collaborate, and basically the nuts and bolts is you should always be collaborating. In some areas, you can start small by sending an email, or obviously there's big, mergers and acquisitions, but there's always that area to collaborate.
So good. So good. Yeah. I mean, when you collaborate, you tap into a world of experience. So yeah, it is leaner and meaner to do it on your own. It is.
Certainly.
And we're probably talking to some pretty talented people. So you're specialist in whatever your area is.
Yeah.
So like, I get it. You're pretty competent on your own. But you just tap into different perspectives, and they can challenge you guys have got to go listen to those too. By the way, we had our record episode on YouTube. I'm not sure about the other streams like Spotify and Apple, but on our last episode. So go check that out on YouTube or Spotify or whatever you want.
It's flying off the shelves.
It is, yeah. So it's really encouraging. We don't mind doing this for a very tiny audience, but it is nice that I think you guys are sharing, and you guys are, sharing definitely does help this out. All right, so let's talk a little bit about we did some really cool show prep. I'm pretty excited about this. So how to start? So maybe I'll let you kick off the first point. So when you're talking about how to collaboration to get stuff done in business or in your nonprofit or whatever, how do they start? What's the first step?
Yeah, the first step is making a decision. And I said decision, you said choose. But either way, you got to make the choice, or you got to decide, I'm going to collaborate on this. I'm going to invite some other perspectives in, or I'm either going to invite other perspectives in, or I'm putting this out to support other people. And so it's really just that, as simple as that. It's a mindset shift of, I'm not going to do this alone. I'm going to get some other voices, get some other thoughts in here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. I mean, we hope that this vlog and podcast will help you guys to choose to be collaborative with others and experience the pain, but the benefit of that. And I think you'll grow when we do things that are uncomfortable. Why do you want to choose? We choose because the end product will be a little bit better. The end product will be a little bit more vetted by other humans who can critique it. And that's why, by the way, that's the reason why people are kind of losing the sensitivity in the world about why free speech is so important, because they're so used to free speech. But like literally the reason for free speech is so that we can have a marketplace of ideas, and we can see what sucks and we can see what works, and we can grow from each other. So that's why free speech is so important. We have to defend that. But yeah, when you choose, you're basically tapping into that marketplace of ideas, and you're allowing people access to you to say your stuff sucks and you're stupid, and they're giving you better ideas, and they're going to help you avoid landmines. So I think it is critical. And guess what it takes is it does take courage. Courage, we've talked about this on the podcast before. Courage is a unsung hero in business or in your nonprofit or in your ministry or in your whatever. But having the courage to choose, being willing to look stupid, is a choice you have to make to collaborate.
Yeah, very true.
I want you to start with step 2 because you're the one that thought of it, and I was so proud of you.
Thank you. So step 2, and for me, whenever I'm seeking collaboration, I'm seeking it from a listening standpoint. I want to listen first. And so I know we just created a short list of, potential candidates who you're listening from, and it's other employees, peers, boss, other departments, customers, prospects, so the collaboration opportunity is pretty vast. But for me, from my perspective, where I was going with the listening is, I'm choosing to collaborate. So instead of just running out and start pitching my idea and seeing who wants to jump on my bandwagon, it's more along the lines of, where does mine fit? Can I help this person, possibly without even really collaborating on the topic I'm seeking, but by helping this person, I'm able to meet the contact that's going to help me in the bigger way. And so it all starts with just overall listening, just active listening. I know we talked about that.
Active listening is one of Beastmode's kind of his life. We all have these life things. It's one of his emphasis areas. And I'm super proud of him for that. I benefit as a friend from it, by the way. I want to thank you for that, Beastmode. But also on this show and in our planning, I value that and I admire that. So when you guys see my reaction to beast mode, when you start active listening to employees, your boss, other departments, customers, prospects, and partners, you'll find that admiration as well. They really appreciate that. Now, the second step as part of that is when you're listening and you're active listening and you're seeking opportunities to, you've already decided to seek opportunities to collaborate. You've decided that you're going to deploy a lot of listening across all of your relationships. Start to document those things, right?
Yeah.
Start to document conversations, right? So you start to identify problems and projects, right? So we talk about problems and projects a lot here. It's kind of the two P's, but projects are more proactive things or opportunities, and problems are problems. And so find your, so document your problems and your projects, and that'll help you identify the small or the large improvements that can be made that you can then collaborate on.
Yeah.
I'm reading a book right now. I can't find it on Kindle, which is so annoying. So I'm reading a paper book right now. It's so annoying, which is so funny. But it's called The Idea Generator,
Okay.
and it's a quick and easy Kaizen. Kaizen is essentially a process that's used a lot in Japan and by Toyota, that talks about constant improvement, and they talk about changing the process. And so, again, constant improvement is the focus of that, but as well. So if you can identify through your listening problems and projects to work on that involve changing the process, then those are great collaboration opportunities. So the next step, I guess I'll kick it off. No reason why not to. You want to identify from all those evidence points an opportunity. So, hey, you made the intention to turn over a new leaf. You're going to not be like my idiot self and not collaborate like I used to not do. And you're going to start to collaborate. And so, finding the right problem. You then want to work with the people. So you might, so beast mode, the guys and the gals might say, well, how do I know the who?
Yeah.
You talked about how, but who do I collaborate with?
Yeah.
And I think what you and I decided in our show planning and preparation is that it kind of makes sense to collaborate with the people that are closest to that topic.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, I mean, in sales, you would talk about it as like a decision maker. That's who I want to collaborate with. Who's making the actual decision, not the assistant. I mean, again, just because it's a value add. You're looking to have the value add being reciprocated. If I'm collaborating with the assistant and they're receiving the best of me, but I'm receiving no knock on an assistant, but I'm not receiving the decision maker type collaboration, which is what I'm hoping to get. So yeah, you got to get somebody who's right there close to, where they meet in the middle.
Yeah, I think you kind of unpacked two things there. So I think I'm gonna to spotlight them. I think number one is you may not be able to get what you want to get done if there is a department head or some kind of an executive that needs to be in the loop that you didn't bring into the loop.
Yeah.
So what Beast Mode is saying is like, don't run the risk of collaborating with the wrong person or collaborating too low in the organization so that you ultimately are blocked and you wasted all this time collaborating and they told you no.
Or it's going to be a one-sided collaboration. They're going to take everything from you and you're not getting the value back in return.
Yeah. So have the right relationship.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But then also so that's going high, and then going low means that you also want to make sure that the people who are closer to it and have more details, because they do it every day, that you have some of the detailed people too. So it's good, I think, if you can have a couple of people, you know what I mean, high and low or whatever, would be better. Even if the upper person won't collaborate with you, if they'll at least sign off on it, then that's probably enough.
Yeah.
And then maybe check in with them, like, hey, here's how it's going. And that's not a perfect process. Listen, honestly, I worked for a company who I'm not going to name, and I spent 2 weeks on something and it was completely not utilized.
Yeah.
Even though this person told me to go work on it. And so it's going to happen. And we're going to talk in a little while, but it might be next week. But we're going to talk about thrashing.
Yeah.
And thrashing is normal.
Yeah.
And so we don't want to spoil that, but I kind of doubt we'll have time. So I think we have a couple stories that we thought would help you guys illustrate a little bit what we're talking about: choosing,
Yeah.
listening, and selecting.
One more thing real quick. Can
Yeah,
I
hit it. Yep.
I think, it just kind of came to me, is I think after you've selected and you got the people who are closest to you, and you're deciding based on revenue impact, risk impact, retention, widespread visibility, those types of things, is you got to set expectations,
Hmm.
expectations of the collaboration.
Oh, that's good. Thank you so much.
You know, here's what I'm going to give you. Here's what I'm
Mhm.
expecting in return. And you got to do it up front. It's a sticky stuff that a lot of people, you're going to learn this lesson. If you don't do this, if you stopped on point 3 on selecting an opportunity and you didn't get to point 4 on setting expectations, then it's going to be, there's the opportunity for a big letdown.
Wow. So good. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. So in the prep, we talked about it might even be good if you have a little one-page briefing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So good.
And I've done, in my last company, I had a very successful project that it was hard. It was a couple months of work. But I had this whole PowerPoint, which on the one hand, it provided a lot of details, but on the other hand, man, it sure was a lot to digest.
Hmm.
And I think it would have been better if maybe I kind of boiled that down to a one pager. So I
Yeah.
think what we're saying is maybe learn from our mistakes and do document what you want out of the collaboration
Yeah.
and the goal and everything, but maybe in a shorter format.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think we're going to each tell a story. I'll let you go first.
Yeah.
And we're gonna wrap up this episode
Yeah.
with those stories. So go ahead, Howie.
Awesome. So kind of talking about that same process. So in my last company that I worked for in Telemagic, we had a proof of concept process. So what a proof of concept is, when you're buying big, expensive software for a company, you usually try it out, is all that it means, is a proof of you're proving the concept. So you're going to try out the software. And my boss asked me to kind of analyze, why were we not closing more deals after we did a proof of concept? What's the problem? And so I kind of went and I studied that problem out. And I said to myself, I'm going to be having to work with our technical team, which delivers these customer trials and the try before you buy kind of thing.
Yeah.
My technical team's going to have to be involved. So what I decided to do is I partnered with Brett, who was the head of the technical services team, and his whole group. And I ran the problem by them. And I explained, here's what I'm seeing in our process. And I think sales can work together with sales engineering and say, we can solve these problems that I've identified. And so it was a really incredible opportunity for us to document the problem together, and for me and I did most of the work. I brainstormed the problem, and then I came back to them and I ran it by them. They gave me some nuances and some tweaks. And people will always do that. When you start collaborating and you give them your ideas, they're always going to tell you what you missed. And that's the point of collaboration. I wouldn't it be terrible if I actually delivered and I went out and I changed a whole sales process, and the people that are involved had no opportunity to show me where I was wrong. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that did happen. And it ended up being that Jack, so I was let go. I was laid off due to a COVID thing. A bunch of people were. But Jack from the technical team, apparently on the afternoon that I was let go, or maybe it was the next morning, told his boss, Brett, what are we going to do without Howie in the saddle to help us in this process? And Brett said, it's going to be okay. He documented this process. We worked together. He did what was needed, and he left in a good situation. And so it's just such a compliment that another department member, felt such a collaboration with me, because I had them so involved in that process. So I think you guys will benefit when you involve the other groups and the other people in what you're building or what you're improving or what you're changing. You'll find that you'll have a great relationship. You'll find that they will tell you where your stuff needs to be improved. And I think you'll benefit from that. But again, and we'll talk about next week, but thrashing is normal.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to give away that point, but yeah, that's my story on improving our sales process.
Yeah, and for me, most of our listeners understand that in May I started a nonprofit. It's called Clean Up. We provide mobile services, showers, mani-pedis, haircuts, things like that to homeless widows and fatherless on the streets of North Texas and Austin. And so, um, there's a lot of collaboration that's been taking place from a lot of different people. I mean, a nonprofit is basically a giant collaboration, you know, and so it's stretching my capacity in all areas. And we just did a whole series on stretching. So it's very helpful. It's very timely. Um, but for me, I guess my story is that I'm stretching and I'm collaborating with a certain agenda, with a certain perspective. I understand that our role, and I position us in a certain way. And again, I don't want to get too in depth because we're going to talk about it next week and thrash a little bit more on it. But it's understanding again how I can collaborate. So when I'm selecting my opportunity, I'm selecting it based on perspectives, and again, what benefits me and how can I support them, and understanding, meeting expectations, and again, having that clarity. And so I know that it's kind of vague, but I know we're going to get into it so much more next week. And so we're excited. I know I am, because this collaboration is really taking off. And I know earlier, Howie, you were talking about, come check out our YouTube live as we're doing that. You never know, you may have a comment during that YouTube live that we use in our podcast. And that would be pretty cool.
I love it.
And we'll definitely give you credit, make you famous.
I love it.
But anything else before we wrap this one up?
No, I mean, I'm looking forward to next week on, helping people navigate the thrashing process. That's normal as part of collaboration. People don't collaborate because it's not easy sometimes, but the fruits are there for sure. But yeah, I definitely appreciate your story. We got to share a business and a nonprofit story here at the end. So yeah, definitely, guys, as you focus on collaboration, we talked about how to start. First of all, you make the decision to collaborate. Second of all, you identify candidates for collaboration by listening, and then you select your collaboration based on things like revenue impact, risk impact, retention impact, cost impact, how widespread the issue is that you can improve. Yeah. And then also, as Beast Mode, I'm so glad he emphasized setting expectations by documenting briefly what it is you want to accomplish, and have hopefully in a one-pager, and sharing that with the other groups. So yeah, it's a pretty rich, for a short one, that's actually a pretty rich podcast. So glad we covered that stuff.
Yeah, it's heavy. It may be one that you listen to again, you sit down, you take some notes, and reach out if you got any questions. We're happy to help on any of that stuff. Again, it's Howie, A-N-D, Beastmode @gmail.com.
Awesome.
All right, guys.
Where can they find us?
Oh, you can find us everywhere. We're on all social media platforms except for Instagram at the moment. And again, we're on YouTube, and you can find the podcast on Apple and anywhere you can find podcasts. So we appreciate you guys listening and sharing with all your friends, and making the connection, reaching out.
Like and subscribe.
That's it. All right, guys. Okay.
Cool.
All right. So now this next one is just going to be. Oh, what were you saying?
Yeah, no, it's good.
I think that was 20 minutes or less. Or I think it was just a little over.
Good.
22 minutes.
Yeah, so we're kind of right in the range there, and I can go a few minutes over. I would say I'm going to send you these notes, and we can probably spitball based on. This is kind of I don't know if that's the best title, but you know what I'm saying.
The title thrashing about is normal?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's kind of. So think about when you're catching a fish and you land the fish, it's thrashing around like crazy. That's normal, right? or when you're brainstorming an idea and you're just stuck and you're just trying and you're just thrashing and thrashing, just like really working on it. I don't know how else to. Maybe it's navigating the problems of collaboration.
Yeah.
Might be better.
Where's my veto button? I can heavy hand that one. Hey, do I need to get out of here? Are y'all about to do something?
No, I'm just about to turn on this machine to pump air into the balls, and it's gonna make a little bit of noise. I was just waiting for you to.
Okay.
You don't need to leave though.
You know how loud it's gonna be, or how long you're gonna do it?
How long will their meeting last?
Oh, we're recording podcast.
Like 20 minutes max.
Yeah, like 20 minutes.
Yeah, I'll wait 20 minutes. Don't worry.
Okay. He's gonna wait.
Okay.
All right.
Cool. By the way, I like that content. I think I'm going to post it on LinkedIn too and say, hey, you should check out our podcast because here's what we covered. Choose, listen, select, and set.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes. Yeah.
So
I was very thankful that thought came in.
I know. We needed that. That was huge.
Setting expectations is so key.
Let's just call it thrashing as normal. Whatever you want. I don't care. Let's just get recording.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
What is up, Beast Mode?
Howie, my man. I love the sword.
Looking good there on your side too, Mr. Tough Guy with your sports stuff all around, and you're just looking all sporty.
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm a big sports fan.
Yes. I'm not. I'm a nerd, and I don't know if you can tell that I'm a nerd, but
Star Wars droid.
As I show my Star Wars droid on the podcast. But yeah, man, I'm kind of digging our new series. This is episode 5 of Collaboration to Get Stuff Done.
Yeah.
Which we've actually set a record recently on this series, so that's been nice.
Yes.
For our listenership. So it's fun. We don't mind doing this for really small audiences, but it's nice to have a little bit more. It just feels good. So yeah, thanks guys.
Yeah, thank you for tuning in.
So last week, what did we talk about?
Yeah, so we've been talking about collaboration to get stuff done. And last week we talked about how to start, just really kind of the nuts and bolts. I mean, there's not a whole lot of fanciness to it. 4 real main points. You're going to choose to collaborate. You're going to listen. You're going to select an opportunity, and you're going to set expectations. I mean, super simple, but they're very key. I mean, Howie talked about it a lot, having a one-pager. I mean, that's kind of what collaboration is right there. We just set a one-pager for how to do it. And so this week we're really going to jump into some heavy stuff, and some of it's going to be it's going to seem a little raw because it is to us, but it's more the thrashing process. It's the that seems uncomfortable, but as we're finding out, it's pretty normal.
Good. Yeah, and we'll probably have a story. We'll see how comfortable Beast Mode is in sharing it anonymously. But yeah, I mean, we listen. Collaboration is hard. There's different opinions and perspectives that we have to please in the process. So the first thing is I wanted to I'll kind of cover off on it. I'll kind of kick it off.
Yeah.
But what I've discovered when I'm working on anything new, and this is actually very focused on the collaboration topic, working with others, what you'll find is that you'll go to that group or that person to collaborate on something, and you'll have something in mind, and when you bring it to them, they'll have a different perspective. And so it's like you wonder why people don't collaborate. It's because you're trying to get A done, and then they bring up B.
Yes.
And you're like, oh my gosh, like
yes.
I'm trying to get your help on A. Why are you bringing me B?
Yes.
So what you have to do is, that thrashing, that kind of like that back and forth and that iteration process causes friction.
Yes.
And that it can cause friction. It can, I hope some of the time it causes humor too. But a lot of times it can cause friction, or at least delay or frustration. But I want you to know that, and Beast Mode and I wanted to communicate to you guys that as you collaborate with others on your projects, that friction is really normal. and that thrashing is really normal. So what'll happen is, as an example, I came to beast mode with A, and he thought about B. I have to satisfy his B, or else I can't get him to really focus very well on A.
Yeah.
Right. But the thing about it is that collaboration is so important, because anybody else who encounters this probably will think about B, because I was blind to it. So the benefit, yeah, it's a little slower for me, but if I satisfy B, then number one, he feels heard. Number two, the weakness in my plan, which only involved A, now it involves A and B. The weakness in my plan was spotted, and I now have knocked out B. And also, I've learned, think about it, I have now learned that, there's other dimensions than what I am singularly focused on that I better be thinking about. So I think you're unpacking a lot of life experience with that when you go collaborate with others, but it does cost more time, because now I got to go freaking build out B, or figure out B, or get out of, you know what? And then the thing about it is that sometimes there's even a C, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm just trying to get this A done.
Yeah.
You know what? And so you had this great idea. So, I mean, I think that's the problem, is that friction happens because people have different needs and different perspectives and knowledge and experience and insights. But that's why you collaborate. Do you want to really deploy something, or whether it be a product or a process or whatever? Do you really want to be missing a big, huge thing just because you don't want to go through that thrashing process?
Yeah. I will tell you, and this is the thought that was, I mean, eager to jump out while you were expanding on that. Sometimes it's setting the expectation in the beginning. Hey, I understand that there's probably going to be a B and a C to this, but today we're going to talk about A. Today, the expectation is I want your input and things on A. Now, if a B and a C are coming up, please write those down. Please, I want to come back. But today, I'm not getting lost in the sauce. We're going to talk about A. We're going to solve A, and we're going to come back. We're going to set time and come back and do that. So I will tell you, though, is that it's don't close that loop. So don't come in and say, we're only going to talk about A and don't ever bring back B, because that's how you stop collaborating, just as Howie was saying. They don't feel heard. I don't really want to collaborate with you. You're not really listening, which is what we talked about last time. And so it's more along the lines of setting the expectation, which again, we talked about last time. But you have to be open to the fact that B and C are probably there, and thank God that you are collaborating because somebody saw it.
Wow. Yeah, I think it really develops, a trust when you're willing to work through that conflict. I mean, I know, sometimes people, I just want to say, different personalities have been through stuff.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised what Beastmode and I have seen and heard, and what people have been through in their lives. And therefore, because of that, you don't just get to deal with B, but you get to deal with B plus baggage.
Yeah.
Right. And so how do the guys navigate the fact that sometimes there's actually not just light, but there's also heat that gets generated in that process of collaboration?
Well, I mean, it's part of the expectation that you understand going in. I understand that when I'm going in to collaborate, that I'm asking somebody for their honest opinion. And so asking means that there can be negativity, there can be dislike, there can be potential pain on my end. And you got to understand it. You got to set that expectation with yourself. If you don't, that's unrealistic to you, and you're going to be disappointed very quickly when not everybody agrees with you. And you have to understand, just like how he said, sometimes I can be coming and I have one train of thought, and from where I grew up and from my background and my history, this is the only thing that I see that's potentially negative. And somebody else totally different, older or younger, or been through some hard stuff, they see something totally different. And it may not be an added value. It just may be an honest opinion that you're going to have to deal with. Understanding this is a fault, this is a flaw, and we may not fix it. It may just stay there, but we understand that now we see it. So now we can promote our messaging around it that helps kind of alleviate that. We can clarify who our product or our service is for. Maybe you can address some of that a different way.
Yeah, for sure. And the thing about it is when we go through a little bit of friction and we come out the other side in kind of a redemptive way, and we kind of like, we give grace, and hopefully you also receive grace. But if you give grace and you explain things and you try to not leave people with these loose ends of concerns, then you really have a stronger relationship. So the next time they know that when there's disagreement, that it's not the end of the relationship.
Yeah.
And so I think being intentional during your collaboration of letting that heat come out, but also not letting it just burn the relationship permanently is a really big idea.
Yeah. And sometimes you got to separate. You got to, again, if you're in a position in a large work environment, you may not like everybody, and everybody may not like you. And then, and if everybody did like each other, that would be pretty atypical. But I mean, it's one of these things that, I have to understand that sometimes they may not like my idea of what I'm collaborating on because they don't like me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay, but can we set it aside, or can I listen to your opinion and sift through what are you actually telling me? Are you telling me that you don't like me in your collaboration critiques, or are you telling me you don't like the idea?
Yeah.
And that's the mature somebody in collaboration. There's a lot of maturity that comes with it, because you're going to get that. And I know that I have an experience here recently. And I mean, it's been very heavy. It's been heavy on my heart. It's been heavy on everything. And that's honestly what I've been doing, is I've been sifting out, is this a problem with the actual critique of the issue? Is there an actual issue here with business or with anything like that? Or is this an issue between me and a person? And okay, so then now I can sift through. And oftentimes collaboration on that is you can pull other people in to say, and I know that I've talked about this in the past. I talked about it on the doubt series. But sometimes, you get some negative advice, or you get some negative input from somebody. And sometimes I'll just take that exact same thing and go ask somebody, hey, do you see this? Can you validate this? Am I missing this? And that takes maturity. I feel like it takes maturity on my part, because that person could say, yep, I sure do. And now you just got double downed on, too hammered. But I mean, if that's the case, then I want my eyes wide open. But if it's not, I want to be able to sift that and throw it away if need be.
And I would say that if people are, you should give grace, and you should try to work with people and try to work stuff out. But also at a certain point, if collaborating with an individual has proven to be negative and you've really worked on it and you've tried, they may have too much baggage, or there just might be some kind of fundamental thing. So, you may wrap that particular situation up and maybe collaborate with others in the future a little bit more.
If you have that ability.
If you have the ability.
Yeah, because you may not be. You may be in a position where you don't have a choice. Yeah. You just have to do it. And that's okay. Then again, you just use it as a sift. You're sifting through every time. 90% of what you say, you're saying because you don't like me. Well, there's 10% that you're saying because there is an actual problem, and I need to find it. That's my job as an active listener, is to find it.
Yeah, it's hard when you have, because I remember in a job not long ago, we had some leads that needed to be worked in Australia, which is like 24 hours away. It's like the farthest away you can be. And so it's not in our time zone. And or I don't know how many hours it was, but I think it was somewhere around there. And so I was asking I was collaborating with executive management about how do we work leads in this remote way. And I ran one scenario by them of having a local partner work on the leads. And I was told no to that approach. So, okay. But I still have this responsibility on my back of I've got some Australia, New Zealand leads that have to be worked. And I have English speaking reps here who can do it, but it's the wrong time zone. So I made up this new idea. So I was told, no, don't use a local partner. Okay. So I thought about it and I came back with another idea of using a sales email campaign driven out of Europe. Long story. And I was told no to that. So then I came up with another plan and I was told no to that. And then I heard back channel, not to my face, but back channel that someone in executive management said that I was pushy. And I wasn't pushy, I was responsible. I was trying to get our leads worked. Because how do you not work a lead from the Bank of Australia? How do you not work a lead? How do you not work a lead? Someone says they want your solution. And so, people will take you wrong. I was not pushy. I was being responsible and creative. And I was persistent, but I was really nice about it. So it does hurt when you have these, when you're taken the wrong way. And I don't have a clear answer, guys, on collaboration. Sometimes will be messy and some thrashing is normal. I think the good news for y'all is that there's a lot of value in it. And, probably 80%, 85% of people won't take you the wrong way and will be pretty good to work with.
Yeah. While you were talking, there was a great quote by Marcus Aurelius that came to my recollection, and I just wanted to read it because I think it's very apropos. It says, "If you're distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment." And so it's that whole thing that if there's a pain coming, and again, in collaboration, if there's a pain coming from an individual, I can assign where that pain's coming from and turn it off. I can choose that, I'm not, and again, kind of a modern version of this quote is if there's a pain coming at you, I can decide whether I feel the pain or if I choose not to.
Very good. Very good.
There's that old, have let it roll off your back, kind of thing. And that's exactly what I'm talking about.
And some people are better at that, than others.
Yeah, no doubt.
I'm not good at that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a weakness. It's a weakness of mine for sure.
Yeah.
So I think, so be aware that some thrashing is normal. Be aware that when you bring problem A or project A to somebody that they're probably going to have B and C issues with it. And that's normal. And you need to work through those and you'll have a more well-rounded final solution because you listened to that. And you also have a better relationship. So I think those are key takeaways for sure. We talked a lot about different backgrounds and people have different baggage to deal with, and they do. We also talked about the fact that people can take you the wrong way. I'll tell you the positive story, by the way. The positive story is when I worked at a cybersecurity company many years ago, marketing was really against me because I was pretty active. And so I kind of stimulated a lot of thoughts and ideas. And they took that like I was in their kitchen, and they took that like I was causing problems. I have a card in that file cabinet behind me from the vice president of marketing for this company at the end of that process when they finally figured out that I was on their side and that I liked them and that I was trying to make a difference. I have a thank you card, and they gave me a I don't know, some kind of a gift card in there too, but it was a handwritten note from the VP of marketing saying that essentially we get you and we appreciate you and we thank you for what you did for us. And so you can win some people over. I'm not saying everybody's going to get you wrong, but when you're active and you're trying to collaborate and you're trying to get people involved, some thrashing is normal. You can win a lot of people over. 15% of people you can't, but I think the collaboration is worth it.
Yeah, very well said. So I think we're going to tie a bow up on this one, and just Because this one was pretty heavy, so we want to give you time
Yeah, it
to
was heavy.
let it sink in. We want to give you time to even ask yourself some personal questions about this. You know, how am I doing with collaboration? How am I doing with dealing with negativity? Am I stifling? You know, because that's how he talked about. You know, if I'm not accepting any other options or any other opinions, you know, oftentimes I'm a bad collaborator, and maybe people don't want to collaborate with me. And that could be an issue that you're having. It's a bottleneck that you're coming into, and maybe that's the cause of it. Some of these are root causes. You just got to self-assess, but there's opportunities for each of us to grow. So,
Love it.
so
Awesome.
this may be the close of the collaboration series. We're not sure yet, but we're excited for it. I know that we're 6 episodes in, or 5 episodes in. It's been so good. It's hard
Right around there. Yeah.
It's so good.
I
Either way.
really want to talk about technologies at some point.
Okay.
So we maybe can squeeze one more out.
Okay. That sounds good. Or maybe we talked about doing a pop-up, just like a 15, 20-minute YouTuber or Facebooker where we're just, you know, what's going on with you? And
I know I want to do that. I think we should experiment with that. So that'll be a Facebook Live, probably, and YouTube Live at the same time. We're going to figure that out. Gary V can do it. We can do it.
that's it. That's it. We're on the same level. So, we'll see you guys soon. Thanks again, Howard.
All right, guys. Appreciate it.
Wow.
All right, dude. So for tonight, for the group,
Yeah,
it's not a bad set of topics.
I like it.
Yeah.
I think it's important.
Yeah, me too. I know it's heavy, but the first part wasn't. The how
Yeah, I
wasn't
mean,
really.
and nobody would have heard they would have only heard the first episode, episode 2, 3, 4.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we should do it. Let's do that.
But I do think I have that quote or that story about Saul.
Yeah. Now, what was that about? Because I do want to go pick up my wings.
Yeah.
But tell me,
I'll tell you real quick, and you can kind of resonate while you go.
Yeah.
So God told Saul what to do. He told him, you need to go kill all the Amalekites, and this is what you need to do, right? And in the middle of everything, he went and sought advice from the people. And the people said, no, we want to keep some of the spoils, and we don't, and this, and this. And so he listened. And there's an opportunity where I don't need to collaborate. I got a word. And obviously this is spiritual. I got a word from God. And so, you know, but there's sometimes I don't need to collaborate, you know. I need to get this done, and not because I don't need approval or anything like that, but you know, there's times where you just got to go. But
when did he do that? When did Saul do that?
That's whenever.
Oh,
that
he
was when
kept
he
the
first.
best of the. Yeah.
And it was right after that he was supposed to wait for Samuel to.
Oh yeah, that's when he lost the kingdom right there with that one.
Well, it's all one. It's all one big story. It's the same story. You know.
Okay. So collaboration. So be careful who you collaborate with.
So he was supposed to not collaborate on the front end, but he was supposed to collaborate on the back end, and he flipped him.
Oh, okay. Wow.
He was supposed to wait for Samuel, and Samuel.
So God's design for collaboration.
Yeah, there's certain stuff you have to do on your own. I told you to do this, but I also told Samuel to do this. You do your part, let Samuel do his. You know.
I like it. God's design for collaboration.
Yeah. All right. I'm just gonna
good job.
I'm gonna leave it open.
Okay. I'm just gonna mute it.
Logged in?
Yeah, I'll just say log in too. Sure.
Okay. All right.
Thanks, man.
Dustin, what's up,
Hey,
brother?
what is up?
There it is. Hey, Jared, how are you, my friend?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Doing well. It's great to see you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right, I'm having to change things on the fly. Internet issues got to fix, but
And where are you at, Jordan?
I am in the motorhome.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir. Can't you tell?
When did that happen?
New Year's Eve.
Really?
Yeah, so today's day 11 of cleanup, having our own motorhome.
Man,
Man, yeah,
God
so
works quick.
he does. So yeah, having to use my phone right back up. I know Howie stepped away for a second he was Tuesday wings. So
He said
be
Tuesday
back.
wings.
Yeah, every Tuesday he got wings. So, but Jared,
Funny.
thank you for joining us. Sure.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. We normally probably get started probably closer to like 7:10 or so. There's Howie.
What is up?
After everybody kind of gets on. So how are the wings, Howie?
Awesome. Actually, they're not my favorite. Buffalo Wild Wings has buy one, get one free on Tuesday nights, so they're cheap, but they're not my favorite. Wingstop is my favorite.
Yeah.
Their lemon
Maybe that's
pepper's
the
not
topic
bad.
for
Awesome.
yeah. Lemon pepper's good. Hey, Howie, I'm having a little bit of technical issues at the moment,
Okay.
so I'm gonna have to make you host so that I can try to figure some of this out. So you can take care of some of the host duties. Just letting you know.
Works for me. Thanks.
John. So first things first, on the bottom right of your screen, you'll need to cancel the live to YouTube. You can go ahead and just stop that.